So everybody, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about how you can write the perfect PLG homepage in less than 50 minutes leveraging AI. So a little bit about my background, why I feel qualified to even talk about this topic, is we've helped over 400 plus SaaS companies generate over $1 billion in self-serve revenue. And what I've found throughout this journey is that if you don't have a good offer, here's what's going to happen. People are going to be confused. They're not going to understand what the heck you do. And because of that, they're not going to sign up. And if they do sign up, they're not going to be that motivated to actually go through that onboarding journey and get to value for you. So it's really, really important to nail your offer for your product. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. So the first thing is we're going to talk about how do you actually craft an irresistible offer. And we're going to outline it all so you have your new homepage. And you're going to design a homepage that actually increases conversions by at least 10% with the same traffic. And we're going to be sharing a AI tool in the comments where you can implement everything by the end of this to really get a fine-tuned, high-converting homepage. But the first question I have for you is when people come to your website, what bucket do they put you in? There's essentially 3 buckets here. The first one is, you can't help me. And no matter what you do, no, you can't help me. The other one is like, you might be able to. So they're a little confused. They have a little bit of a question mark as they come to your website. And then the last one is like, you can absolutely help me. And I can't wait to sign up for whatever you have to offer. So whenever we go through and kind of polled over 2,000 plus SaaS companies, we identified that only 9% of companies actually feel like they are confident they have an irresistible offer in the market, whereas 91% don't have an irresistible offer. So that's a ton of people that just are confused or have questions if this product is right for them. And so needless to say, an irresistible offer is absolutely critical to helping you become the obvious choice in your market. And so that's what we're going to dig into today. And there's really 3 phases to what we're going to go through. First one is let's get to the basics. Like, how do you actually craft an irresistible offer? Second is how do you build your offer pyramid? So we'll go through how to actually design your homepage in a much more structured way than you've ever done before. And then the last part is just how do you actually refine this? And so the very first piece is your offer really comprises of 3 things. There's the main result. That's what people care about. That's something actionable that they're like, oh yeah, you do that? Fantastic, count me in. And then there's the main advantage, which is why is your product or solution or approach better than what other people consider? And this is like for us at Product Led, we have a unique approach to approaching PLG. If you think about a lot of other like PLG advice and stuff, it's like, yeah, I have my industry experience and I've worked in this space for a little while and you can trust me. And it's like, okay, there's some truth to that's helpful, but it's not structured. It's not holistic. It might just focus on the product background. And so you have to have an advantage that proves why should people choose your solution versus somebody else's. Now, the last part of a irresistible offer is just the assurance. So why or what might be preventing people from signing up? So is it because there's no results that are guaranteed? Is it because in order to use your product, there's a lot of compliance and stuff that they would have to go through, hoops to jump in order to get to value? So what is going to hold people back from signing up for your product? So you really got to get super clear on that. And one just little disclaimer is you're thinking about, oh yeah, like why are we better or faster or more user-friendly? Like don't use buzzwords, just get really clear on why is your solution better, what is the main result, and what is the overall assurance for your product. Because essentially what you're trying to get to is really just zoom in on what those main 3 things are for your offer. And when you do this, here's the main benefit. So we were working with this company called Promotix at Product Led, and they were going up against Eventbrite. And as you know, like Eventbrite is huge. There's a lot of people use Eventbrite for ticketing for their events. And so Promotix had a strategy, which they were saying, you know what? Our winning strategy is 2 things. We are cheaper than them by a significant margin, like at least 20 to 40% less for ticket fees. But what we do different as well, our unique advantage is you know what? We help you sell a lot more tickets because we have marketing tools that are part of this. And so they assured people, they made sure, like guaranteed, you're going to make more money with promo ticks than Eventbrite, and they backed it up. And so really that's your action item for phase one, is really just thinking about, okay, what is your irresistible offer? Because if it's not irresistible, at the end of the day, it just boils down to those three things. Are you very clear on the result, the assurance, and what is your main advantage? Because everything else is built off of that. And I do find many founders that don't have a very clear strategy. They just skip that. They're like, oh yeah, let's hire a good copywriter. And it falls flat on their face because it was not built with substance. Okay, so phase two, it's all about building your offer pyramid. What this means is, like any good pyramid, there are some building blocks you gotta have. Now there's 5. When it comes to your homepage, is you really have to focus on your hero section first. This is, as soon as you hit a homepage, it's that main page, like thing you see where you're like, oh, okay, this is what the product does. And so a good hero section, there's a lot to it, but you got to be super clear on who this is for. Then you got to be clear on what is the main result, main value, which is, of course, your value prop. And also really reinforce what is the main advantage? What is really the main assurance of why I should use your solution versus the other? And even if they just saw the hero section, they should be able to nod their head and be like, yeah, that's for me. Yeah, I like this. I want to learn more. It's not just to get curiosity. It's to be like, yes, this makes sense. This is great. You're not trying to fit everything into this hero section, but really it's got to solve that. So the second out of the 5 components for your homepage is the problem section. And so I see a ton of companies skip this, and it's such a missed opportunity because a good problem section will point out, what are the problems with the other tools, the other approaches of doing things. And when you point out the underlying problem they need to address, this kind of rubs some salt on the pain point of, oh, okay, solving things this way is wrong. So back to promo ticks. One thing they did in the problem section is they actually picked a fight with Eventbrite. And they said, hey, you know what? Their service fees are ranging from 20 to 40%, and the fees are climbing. This is a problem. They're picking a fight. And what you're trying to accomplish here is a head nod. Something that says, oh, you get me. You're not just talking to anybody. You get my pain. And when you can identify with that pain and get people to have that head nod, then your odds of converting them and getting them to sign up are way higher, because the core problem actually should feed into your core solution. Why is your solution unique? And that is the third out of 5th component here of your homepage, which is just really clearly outlining, okay, how does your product work? And you might have got people interested at this point, they agree with your problem, but in order for them to sign up, they need to see, okay, this is actually how it works. I don't have to waste 25 minutes setting up your application. I could just go ahead and do this. You don't always have to do this, but you could just outline, hey, these are the 3 steps, 3 or 5, no more than 5 steps, please, when it comes down to, okay, how does somebody go from signing up for your product to experiencing that value prop you promised in the hero section? And you're not trying to go into the minutia here. You're just trying to go through high level, hey, these are the top 3 things you got to go through. Like even with our full product-led system, it essentially boils down into 3 phases. Phase 1, like you're going to build an unshakable foundation. We're going to go through your strategy, understand your user, your model. Phase 2 is all about unlocking self-serve customers. And you know what? We're going to go through your offer, your onboarding, your pricing in order to do that. And then phase 3 is all about how do you scale this up? And so very quickly you can see, okay, there's a method to this madness. I'm able to trust that they're going to help me be able to go through and achieve that hero promise a lot more because there's some teeth to this. And so the 4th thing you got to go through out of 5 for your homepage is called risk reversal. So like I said, every company has at least one big thing, one big objection, sometimes more, but there's at least one big thing that prevents people from signing up. And whatever this is, you have to call it out and address it proactively. Why that's super important is, so I'll give you an example. One of our clients, Cloudl, they help you identify all the security risks that might be your AWS might be exposed to. And as part of that, you actually have to connect AWS, which some founders, they don't even share that with their team because they're like, oh, if somebody got access to that, if that got hacked, you know what? I would lose my whole SaaS application. It's like a very big risk for them. And so they had a lot of resistance for that. So they had to showcase, okay, here's our certifications, here's the security side of things, to really put people at ease that, you know what, there's not going to be an issue here. And we've already thought about that. And so think about, for your product, what is that big one thing that is going to hold people back from signing up and really seeing success with your product. So that's risk reversal. The last thing you got to go through is really just having a fantastic final call to action. So that's the fifth thing. That's what you find at the bottom of the page of your homepage. And I see a lot of companies miss out on this section, and they're just like, yeah, let's sign up for free, check it out, see if it will make sense for you. But I want you to really spend some time here and consider this the most persuasive part of your page, where you're really thinking about what would hold someone back from seeing success from this product. I think a lot of SaaS founders, they dedicate so much time into the product, yet when it comes down to, okay, if we just look at the stats, there's like, let's say 1,000 people that come to your website, only maybe 100 of them will sign up if you're like really, really good at this. And the other 900 will not. They'll never have a chance to actually go through your product, see why your product's better, and experience that value that you promise. And so I want you to be so passionate and fired up about this that you're like, hell yeah, you have to see this. But what would push people over? So think back to, if you've done demos or anything else like that, what have been some of those things that you have said that have really pushed people over the edge to say, hey, this is why you got to do it. Like in Promotic's case, it's really just about how much more you could earn. And they're showcasing all the stats. Like on average, most of our customers make 27% more profit, 31% average revenue increases. So they just go through all the stats and kind of hit them over the head with, this is why it's a no-brainer decision, and you are being stupid if you don't do it. And you're not saying you're stupid if you don't sign up, but essentially you're proving the point of, this is why this value is so much better and why you should do it. So that's the last piece of everything here. So phase one, we covered how to craft your irresistible offer. And then phase two is all about building the offer pyramid. Phase three, I'm not going to go too in depth with this because this is really what our workshops are for, where we can give you feedback on everything. But I will touch on 3 quick things you could do to really refine your offer. So the first thing is just headlines. And I'll point this out because I think so many people abuse the headlines. They fit way too much in them. They use a lot of buzzwords like, it's better, it's faster, we're the best, we're number one. And yet it's like, yeah, okay, that doesn't really communicate anything or tell me what the heck you do. So be specific, use numbers when you can. Like, hey, on average, we improve activation rates by 16% or 20% or something like that. Get super specific. When it comes to body copy, do not, once again, like also bloat it. You don't want your body copy to be obese, where you're like, oh my God, there's so much going on here. There's a lot of copy. And wherever you can, integrate the social proof as part of that. Like, hey, if you make a bold claim that says, you know, we improve our activation rates on average by 16%. You could have a customer testimonial that says, hey, we just did this. We saw a 200% increase or something like that. That really just reinforces what your core value is. And the last thing is really just amplify with aesthetics. This is the last piece, because once you have killer copy, then it's all about, hey, how do we take this to the next level? We need to have images that communicate the same thing. We need to have, if you want, videos that also go through the same thing to show people what this will look like. And really what I'm noticing a ton more in a lot of product-led companies is you want to get people to the moment on your homepage. before they even sign up. And how do you do that? Well, you got to have the right aesthetics, but also just guide people, showcase, hey, this is what our product does. This is what it would look like if you got to value. Get them excited so they can start to see, oh, I can visualize that I would hit that hero promise you made me at the very beginning. And so that's a recap for everything we talked about of how to craft an irresistible offer. So to put everything together, phase one, remember, craft your irresistible offer. That really comes down to getting crystal clear on your result, your main advantage, and really assuring people of why this is the best solution for them. And then you've got to build your offer pyramid, which has 5 core components. Get crystal clear on your hero section, which is above the fold. Then really pick a problem that a lot of people in your market will resonate with, and then go through your core solution, no more than 3 or 5 steps. And then make sure whatever that big objection is, you risk reverse it. And finally, end with a strong call to action, and then just consistently refine your offer with better headlines, better body copy, and aesthetics. And trust me, if you implement this, you will see more conversions with the exact same traffic. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, let me know on LinkedIn. You can just find me at West Bush. And I look forward to hearing what your top takeaway was. Bye for now.